I'm proud to be here with you today because we have the opportunity here today to exercise two of our most cherished rights. The right to be here, to meet peacefully and speak freely about issues that are important to us. Now, I've been in places on this earth where people don't have that right. A couple of you all noticed today that I'm carrying a holster that's empty. That's because of both the pistols I carry when I'm on the campaign trail and both my Bibles are in the car right now. That's because it's my choice that they're there. It's not a government choice. I make the choice whether I'm armed. I want to fight for those rights. Our rights are being taken away from us. You know, my wife says the older I get, the crankier I get, and I think she's glad I've been out on the trail 9 months now. But I am getting cranky. I'm cranky about what's happening to our country. I'm cranky that we've forgotten that we are governed by the Constitution I do carry in my back pocket all the time. I'm cranky that we're forgetting that we are one nation under God. One of the first things I want to do when I get in office is impeach that federal judge that ruled our National Day of Prayer as unconstitutional. That's wrong. That's the role of the House of Representatives, the people's house, your house, to impeach judges that don't understand the importance of this document. I'm cranky that our borders are not secure. I'm cranky that we are Americans, but we're not speaking English. The rest of the world is going to English in their economics and in their governance, and we're moving away from that. I'm cranky that my grandchildren are now settled with a debt. Why are we doing that? Why aren't we paying our own way? I'm cranky that the Environmental Protection Agency and that ridiculous act, the Endangered Species Act, has created a situation where birds and fish are viewed as more endangered than the real endangered people in this country, which is the ranchers and the farmers and the loggers and the drivers, and it's the people who are in the construction industry. I want to do away with that act and a whole morass of federal laws that are like an anchor chain around the neck of America. And I've talked about the chain. I really think it's a noose because that noose is tightening and it's strangling us. You know, I'm cranky that the Federal Reserve is set up as a cartel of rich banks in the East Coast and that they make the profit, and when they make a loss, we take it in the pants in the terms of a bailout. No more bailouts. Let's do away with the Federal Reserve. Let's float free market interest rates. You know, I've got so many things I want to do in the first week in office that I'm going to be pretty tired. But before I get tired, I want to talk to you about how I feel about Pinon Canyon, because that's what you want to hear about. No, not on my watch, not without a fight. No. So what do I bring to that fight? Well, I'm a retired combat guy. I've been in combat. How many veterans do we have in here? Thank you for your service. You know, as I drove out Highway 10, I noticed it's the 1st Cavalry Division Memorial Highway. Any 1st Cav vets? Well, I am 1st to 7th Cav, Bravo Company, Custer's finest. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to get pushed around about this. But I bring the strength of having been in combat, having trained people as combat leaders. The way I got to be a recovering lawyer is after 5 years overseas, I was one of 25 officers selected for a full scholarship to law school. I finished my career in the JAG Corps, and I've been in recovery 10 years and 4 months, and I'm doing well by it. But I've got the skills I learned as a lawyer in the Army. And I spent 12 years in the Pentagon as a reservist. I know how that system works. And I appreciate the fact that we have a moratorium on funding. And I appreciate the fact that there's a push to create a permanent moratorium. But keep in mind, those are laws passed by Congress. And any law passed by Congress can be repealed by the next Congress. So in November, I arranged to get briefed by the command group and the staff judge advocate at Fort Carson. I spent 3 hours over there before I came down here and spent a whole day with people from here in this area. And I was told that the Army did not envision the need at present to expand Pinon Canyon, and that the Army would never again use adverse condemnation. Well, last week, I checked in with the Chief of Staff of Fort Carson. I spent 2 different times on the phone with the Chief of Staff and was told once again the Army does not need any additional land at present. That's the key word right there, at present. So, you know, I remember from my reading, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And I used to think that means that we watch out for the Chinese or the Vietnamese or the Japanese or the Germans, but it's watching out for our government, my friends. And what I want to do is watch out for you as a veteran. I know how to ask the hard questions and get the true answers and fight for alternatives. So if at present we don't need to expand, but next week we do, I'm going to find out why. And then I'm going to ask for alternatives. So for example, I'm told that we need a lot of bandwidth to test our UAVs. Well, I know where we can get bandwidth. It's in the Kwajalein Island missile range that we used for 50 years. It's a target out in the middle of the Pacific. We'll go out and train out there. We don't need to train here. Do we? So there are all kinds of questions to be asked, and hard questions, and I will hold the Army's feet to the fire and make sure I get the answers, because remember, any statute can be changed. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. I'm Bob McConnell. I took an oath in 1966 to uphold and defend the Constitution. That's a lifelong oath, and I live it now. And as a veteran, as a combat veteran, as a retired Army officer, I am prepared to fight and if need be, die in defense of my country and our way of life. And I will never surrender you or Pinon Canyon or our way of life as long as I'm alive. Thank you very much. And I forgot to tell you about my other hat. Oh.